Breaking news. Donald Trump chooses Linda McMahon for Secretary of Education. Right. Just moments ago, y'all, President-elect Donald J. Trump has announced that he will be selecting and appointing Linda McMahon to be the next U.S. Secretary of Education. This is an incredibly strange choice. This is wildly irresponsible, but also entirely predictable. As you know, Linda McMahon has played a super important role in Donald Trump's campaign, his transition. She is no stranger to Trump business. The McMahon family has been very close to Donald Trump for a very, very, very long time, which is why she ended up as his the co-chair of his transition team. Initially, we thought that she might be Commerce Secretary. That kind of made sense. She was former administrator of the SBA, Small Business Administration. But the Secretary of Education makes zero sense. So why does he do it? All right. And just to give you some background for those that don't know, and I forgive me, sometimes my Americanness and my wrestling nerdness makes me skip past the obvious. Linda McMahon is the head of the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment Company, Titan Sports, all that stuff, formerly known as WWF. That was her claim to fame for decades. Really, it was Vince McMahon's claim to fame, but he took an outsized public role. I'm not saying that she wasn't significant. She's the brains behind this just as much as he is, and she's particularly influential on the business side. She is a legit business titan. I take nothing away from her, even if I disagree with her principles and her values and what they put on screen with the WWE is disgusting. All that said, she's certainly a business person. So if you put her as Secretary of Commerce, do I think it's the best choice? No, but it would have at least made sense. But the U.S. Secretary of Education, that's weird. And yeah, it does feel like, as someone just wrote in, that Donald Trump is just trolling us now. When I saw it, I was shocked. I mean, Betsy DeVos, Angela Redemption says Betsy DeVos 2.0. And Betsy DeVos, I think, was awful, but she at least had a documented history trying to dismantle public education, right? She had an educational agenda, and even though the agenda was counter to what I think it should be, and she was certainly no educational expert, she at least was in the mix. She was at least in the conversation far more than Linda McMahon. As we do know, Linda McMahon was on the Connecticut Board of Education. Is that right? She was on the Connecticut Board of, this is breaking news, so I don't have it off the top of my head, but she was, I believe, that on the Connecticut Board of Education, and she stepped down at one point. Let me look that up. I don't want to give y'all bad info. I am correct. She was appointed to the State Board of Education in January 2009. She went through the confirmation process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, but even for the Connecticut Board of Education, there were people who said she lacks depth of knowledge, that she didn't know enough to be on the Board of Education for the state of Connecticut. She didn't go do a doctorate in education. She didn't do anything to increase her knowledge. She didn't start an educational nonprofit. She didn't start an advocacy group. She didn't start lobbying. I mean, she's not an educational expert. And yet she's now in charge of the U.S. Department of Education. This is a homie hire. This is a friendship connect. This is, you've done a lot for me. You've donated a lot. You influenced the conversation for me. And so now I am going to put you in a position of power. The problem is there's multiple problems. One, the McMahons in general have a reputation, a well-deserved reputation, for being unethical and immoral. And I'm not going to hold Linda McMahon accountable for the actions of her husband, and he's been incredibly accused of lots of awful things at the personal level. But look at the product they put on the screen. Look at the product that they approve on the screen. I don't know if y'all saw Mr. McMahon. Is that what's called, or is it called Vince? It's called Mr. McMahon. The documentary on the WWE, which I thought was really well done. really gets to the core of some of the sickness that's inside the WWE. And I'm not just talking about the representation. You could say that's art, that's performance, fine. But what about the steroids? What about the racism? What about the sexual misconduct? They created an institution that represents and enhances the worst excesses and contradictions of this country. Pretty gross. I remember when the right wing were supposed to have the moral agenda. Where's the moral agenda right now when you make Linda McMahon the head of the head of the Department of Education? That's number one. Number two, she lacks educational knowledge. Shouldn't the Secretary of Education be an expert in education? I'm not saying you need to be a professor. I'm not saying you need to be a policy wonk. But she has absolutely no business overseeing education. What is your expertise? If you can hire anybody in the world, literally, why do you choose that? I mean, even the Jamook yesterday, who was trying to buy 500 Bibles to get on Trump's good side in Oklahoma, the Secretary of Education in Oklahoma, at least he has experience and knowledge, even though, again, not a good choice. Zane kind of said, "Will Dana White be the next cabinet member?" Yo, could be. Wouldn't be the worst choice. But it also speaks to a bigger issue, which is how we think about the Department of Education. Since the 80s, the U.S. Department of Education was created in 1979 under Jimmy Carter. Reagan hated the idea of it, but he did keep it. And when he put people like Bill Bennett in charge, it wasn't because of his policy chops. It wasn't because he understood education, although Bill Bennett obviously had thoughts. He actually tried to get Joe Clark to do it in the mid 80s. It was super interesting. Joe Clark from Lean on Me, the real Joe Clark, not Morgan Freeman, who was 100 back then. But it's like they put people who are ideologically aligned with them, but they don't necessarily put experts. You wouldn't put a non-doctor as Surgeon General. You wouldn't put a non-lawyer as Attorney General, and yet you put these randomly or tangentially connected people to education. But that goes to the last point that I'm going to make about that. He's trying to dismantle the department anyway. He's actually trying to dismantle the U.S. Department of Education. So you say maybe picking someone who's not good at this job is how you do it. I get the impulse, but you don't dismantle the U.S. Department of Education by getting a bad leader or an uninformed leader. If anything, you need greater expertise and knowledge. If you're trying to get rid of the U.S. Department of Education and resituate the power of educational oversight to the states, that needs to be done with care and nuance and expertise. You can't just go out and just throw shit against the wall and see what sticks. And that's exactly what Donald Trump's going to do. I think Linda McMahon will get through the Senate. I don't know if Matt Gaetz does. I mean, I say that to say this isn't the worst choice he's made. So it may go better than you think. Of course, there's the recess appointment option. It might all go through. Donald Trump has no problem bending the rules, breaking the rules, or setting new precedents. And the U.S. Senate and the Senate Republicans in particular have shown that they have no problem giving Trump whatever he wants, even at the expense of their own credibility and organizing power. So